Cool. Now, when we're constantly setting the rotation, we're going to say rotation of myself plus this variable. So it's not hard-coded anymore. Variables, number, rotation amount. Let's do the same thing with alpha. This is going to make it a lot easier for us to use this code in our other particle effects. Then we can just go and tweak the initial settings without having to worry about all this stuff. So I'll duplicate this number variable. I'm going to create one called scale amount as well. Scale amount. That'll be a random integer. Well, we've got to remember scale. We don't want to have massive numbers. It's got to be decimal places, something like 0.01. So we might say random integer from. Let's keep that, and we want to divide it by. If it was 1 to 2, and then we wanted it to turn it to 0.01 or 0.02, we need to divide it by 100, wouldn't we? So we want that plus. We'll say this random integer, whatever it is, divide it by 100. Now before I go and get carried away and do much more, I actually want to test that this worked and that this works. So we're going to be looking at the rotation and the scale. So this variable scale amount I'm going to use in here for when the scale changes. So I'm not going to use 0.01 anymore. I'm going to use that variable. And we will intend to do this with everything else. We'll also add in positioning to make it look like it's moving. Now if we want a random initial angle rotation so that it looks a little askew to begin with, maybe we could give this a random integer from -20 to 20. I would recommend changing just one or two things and then testing it out. So I will stop myself before I go too crazy here. I might just start the scale out as 1. Let's test it out. You want to make little changes and then have a look at how it looks and tweak those, or else it'll be overwhelming and it'll be hard for you to know what you've done. Okay, so here we go. So they behave very differently now. I might actually make them shrink themselves, get smaller. They spin way too fast. I'm imagining kind of flames that go up and fade off and get smaller.